Welcome back. Welcome back to Living in Mexico. I'm Ana Maria Salazar. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been broadcasting this show since 2004. I really appreciate you joining us this weekend. And this weekend, I want to do something different. For those of you who've been following this show throughout the years, we usually emphasize on stories that have to do usually with politics, a lot of stories and analysis about the situation of education in Mexico. We talk a lot about, unfortunately, about violence in this country. So usually most, I have to say in the last 10 years, most of my weekends I have been spending, I use my show to provide analysis about what is the current situation of Mexico and how the world views us. Well, today I want to do something different, and this interview is very personal to me. I want to talk about organ donation, not only in Mexico but around the world, and it's a very personal story for me because my father, Dr. Mundo Salazar, he was a very famous ophthalmologist in northern Mexico. He was the first doctor, the first ophthalmologist to do a cornea transplant at a time where there was very few transplants being executed in Mexico. And I remember as I was growing up, him talking about how difficult it was to get organs and to get especially corneas in his case. And how at different points my mom talked about how he was even attacked and he was questioned a lot as to whether this was ethical, whether it was religiously correct. I mean, there was a lot of issues at that time. Well, guess what? There is still a lot of problems in getting sufficient organs for patients who absolutely require these organs in order to survive. That's why I really appreciate today's guest, Dr. Ernesto Duarte Tagles. He's in Hermosillo, Sonora, and he has a new initiative to promote this culture of organ donation because my understanding is, Dr. Tagles, this is still an issue. I mean, there's there's just not enough organs to go around, and I don't know if it's gotten worse, but clearly the health situation or the health system in Mexico doesn't facilitate the access to organs donation. So, Dr. Tagles, welcome to the show. Just before we talk about this extraordinary effort that you've put together to promote organ donations, let's talk about what is the situation of organ donations in Mexico. Welcome to Living in Mexico.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be with you. It's your father. I got to work with Dr. Salazar, and it was a really pleasure. I'm honored to be with you and that I met your father, and also I'm honored that I could get to give a recognition to your dad. So
yeah, I know that was. But you know what? The important thing about the recognition and the work that you're doing is that it's clear to me that the culture of organ donation is well, it's a problem. I mean, it's difficult to get to provide organs to patients. So could you just put into context how bad is the situation right now? What are the needs?
Well, it's just back of me in my back. You can read. Mexico has one of the lowest rates in organ donation in Latin America. Wow. Only 4.2 donors per million of inhabitants. This means that last year we got for just less than 450 donors, death donors in Mexico for the whole country. We should remember that Mexico is the 11th country in the world with the highest population, and get only 550 donors. It gives us the dimension that the real problem is about to getting the organs for the people who is in need of a transplant. For example, for a kidney transplant, that is the most demanded organ, not only in Hermosillo and Sonora in Mexico, but also in the world. There is a waiting list of more than 16,000 people waiting list.
Wow.
But that's the official. but they're unofficial because the kidney disease is a real problem. We say that maybe almost 60,000 people should be in need of a kidney transplant. Less more, for example, we have a waiting list in cornea transplant. I mean, we could say that maybe it's understandable. We have a waiting list in kidney because in Mexico we only have access to get a kidney, an organ for diseased people who is in brain death. In brain death, of course, in 1 to 2% of the population who dies in a hospital. But for cornea, we can get a transplant from people who has a cardiac arrest, and this happens every day. And even though we have a waiting list in almost 2,500 people waiting for cornea, and this is because people don't go for a transplant, don't go for a donation. I don't know, maybe there's a real effort right now. It's the new director of the Centro Nacional de Trasplantes is going very well doing promoting the organ donation, but for the 10 years, 15 years, the organ donation rate in Mexico rise from 3.2 to 4.2. That's it's not
It's very small.
Very
It's
small.
very small. So what is, I mean, when my father started doing cornea donations years ago, I mean, it seemed that not only was there a problem getting, or corneas or having access to corneas, but there was a religious and almost a legal problem with having, that would facilitate access to organs and organs donations. I mean, what does the law say right now? Because as you know, there's been abuse in different parts of the world that has been reported that, people end up selling their kidneys, or they end up sending their there's also the stories about these mafia groups going after individuals to get their organs. I mean, it's horrific, some of the stories, which I don't think most of them are not true, but there is a problem of perception. So what is the issue in Mexico right now? Is it the lack of the medical authorities or medical services? Is it a problem medical service? Is it a cultural problem? Is it it's that doctors are not aware? I mean, or people simply don't sign or provide information and permission to use their organs once they've died? What is the main problem in Mexico right now?
I must say that we can divide into two main problems. The part of the official in the hospitals, but also the part that concerns the people. And about the hospitals is because regulatory field is it means that only for a little bit more than 500 hospitals in the world, Mexico has a license for getting tissues and organ donations. But not all of the hospitals works on it because sometimes they don't have enough equipment, or sometimes there is not enough people who works on the field, and that's a problem in the hospitals. But regarding the people, the populations, unfortunately, they pay more attention to all those myths that, as you say, the one that you said about that, and that are not really true. But like we see it every day in TV series or in the social media news about the report that in Mexico we have the organized crime is a really big problem. So people think, and they pay attention that they are doing this organ traffic.
Right.
It's not true. It's not true like they imagine it happens. But people think it is, and what it makes is that people says, I don't want to say that I'm a donor. But at the end, when it comes to the hospital, at the moment when people dies, and there's this interview between the organ donation coordinator and the family. This is a very intimate moment. In that moment, they become to say yes.
Mhm.
But if in order to get this yes, we want to consent the donation,
Mhm.
it's very important to have all this information widespread. That there is all these legal ways to get the donors, and that is something really good, and
Mhm.
nothing illegal in it.
Mhm.
I mean, I can say that at the end, people those don't go for donation because they have misinformation about this.
So I know you have just started a new program that is all focused on this museum, which is what we see behind you, which is part of a process to educate people in regards to donations, the culture of organ donations. Just briefly tell us about the museums and the museum. And in my understanding, it is you're actually going to Italy to present this. That there's a lot of international interest. So tell
Yes,
us about the museum.
sure. This Duarte project is that the name is Duarte. It's educational space for organ donation and culture. That's the entire name. It's a project from Mika Foundation, who is the president of it, and it's the first museum style space
Mhm.
that constantly has a permanent information about the human body, the history of the transplant around the world since the
Mhm.
third century, the history of transplants in Mexico. That's where your father is, as
Yeah.
the first ophthalmologist who made the first cornea transplant here in Sonora back in 1969. That's something to say. It's
Yeah.
really, really, if now, those in 2025, it's really a problem to get a donation.
Hmm.
I can't imagine back in 1969. But
Yeah.
anyway, and also we are right now in the room of when we talk about organ donation.
Hmm.
It's a very nice, very interactive space where we talk everything about it. At the
Hmm.
end, we also have a special part where we honor all the donors that we have had since the
Hmm.
past years. And
Hmm.
let me tell you something, we present this work back in August in the World Transplant Congress in San Francisco, California.
Hmm.
And it was really good, well received about that. People from the United States says that they wanted to have something like that, like this in the USA.
Hmm.
They invite us to present it there. And it was selected as one of the 25 more innovative projects presented in the World Transplant Congress. And
Hmm.
because of that, we have this invitation to present it in the fourth edition of the Congress in Italy called Donarte.
Hmm.
Because this place also is not, I mean, organ donation and transplant is an art by itself,
Right.
but also we want here in this space, we to give another space to the people, to the art people,
Hmm.
they can have something to present their art.
Okay.
So we have an art gallery as well. We have had books presentations, we have workshops
Wow.
and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
and it's a really nice effort. Our foundation is a nonprofit foundation.
Mhm.
This is only aimed to get this awareness about organ donation because the needs is
Are
really,
so great.
really,
Yeah. No, they're
really
so great. Well, Dr. Tagles, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Living in Mexico Radio, and good luck in all these presentations. And I think it's an extraordinary effort to try to promote the culture of organ donation, not only in a country like Mexico, where it's still an issue to have access to organs that is so needed by so many people, but it's also a way of educating people in the country in regards to, you know, make the decision. Tell your family members that you want to do this, that you want to be part of this effort to save other people's lives, or in the case of my father, to save people's sights so that they can see again. Thank you so much, Dr. Ernesto Duarte Tagles from Hermosillo, Sonora. He heads Fundación Mica, which I just found out it means in Yaqui, dar, regalarte, give yourself, in the Yaqui language. I think that's lovely. Good luck in your effort. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ana Maria.
Thank you. We're going to go to commercial break. I'm Ana Maria Salazar. I'll be right back.